Hi, Laura Kopec, nutritionist here, helping you reach better health through food. Today we're making marinated halibut steaks. We're serving it with a tomato and red onion compote, sauteed baby broccoli, and brown rice. So let's get started. The secret to making your meals go smoothly and in the smallest amount of time as possible is making sure you start the preparation of your longest ingredient first. So we're cooking brown rice as part of our halibut and broccoli dish. So we're going to get that started first. I have a secret or a trick for getting brown rice to cook really fast, because any of you that know and like brown rice, it can take forever, and most of us then will go towards a white rice instead of the brown rice out of speed. Adding a generous amount of water, I'm actually going to pre-boil my rice, drain the water, and start the boiling process again. This is going to cut my cooking time for brown rice in half. So again, I've added my cup of rice, added a generous, at least double amount of water, a splash of olive oil, and we're going to let that come to a full boil. Boil for 10 minutes, drain that water, rinse the rice, start the process again, this time with a 2-part water to 1-part rice. 1 cup of dried rice will serve 4 people. So if you're looking at more people, you want to increase that volume in that rice. I always like to make rice a little bit extra, because then I have it for a quick stir-fry meal the next day. There are actually over 8,000 different kinds of rice. That's pretty amazing to me, because I'm only aware of a handful of rice. But today we're using a long grain brown rice. It has a lighter taste than a short grain. Short grain will have a little bit of a nuttier, denser taste. I find the long grain cooks a little faster as well. And it's really nice for dinner. I'll use the short grain brown rice for breakfast in place of an oatmeal. It's gluten-free. Rice is gluten-free, so it's a wonderful mainstay for those of you that can't have gluten. It's very rich in nutrients. Brown rice is definitely more nutritious than your white rice. Your white rice has often been stripped in the milling process of some of its nutrients. If it's enriched, it's been so stripped that we've got to put vitamins back in. So you really want to stick to a brown rice. And again, if you use my shortcut here, you'll wind up eating brown rice a little bit more frequently. Brown rice is rich in vitamin B1, B2, B3, and B6, rich in iron, selenium, magnesium. I'm going to make my marinade in the Pirates dish first here. Again, I like to prepare dishes that once you get it in your mind, you can save it and go on. So we're going to just remember 3 tablespoons and a ½ teaspoon. That's all we have to remember of our ingredients to make this marinade. So I'm going to get 3 tablespoons of olive oil, lemon juice, and oregano. I'm going to save on my dishes and use my dry ingredient first. Then I'm going to go and use my wet. So I'm going to take my dry oregano, and I'm going to put my 3 tablespoons in. And I know it does seem like a lot, but this is really a wonderful marinade. And I'm going to add my 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I like to put my olive oil in a really nice glass decanter. This way I can leave it out, because I use it pretty much at every meal. Lemon juice. Again, 3 tablespoons. The wonderful part about a marinade, if you're using a vinegar or a lemon juice, you're helping to neutralize the acidity of the meat. Okay, alright, so let's stir that up a little bit. Let's add a ½ teaspoon of our smoked paprika first. I like to use a smoked, gives it a nice, really rich flavor. Paprika is really high in vitamin C. And let's use some of our pink Himalayan sea salt. Remember, our pink Himalayan sea salt is really rich in ionized minerals. There's over 84 in it. It's very alkaline to your food. It has a wonderful flavor. It brings out the real elegance to your fresh fruits, vegetables, meats, just about anything. So I use it quite a bit. Fresh ground pepper. Again, when you're using fresh, the flavors are just so much more available to you. Alright, so let's kind of stir this up. I'm going to set it once in the marinade on that side, and then I'm going to flip it over. Excellent. Halibut is a really great fish. It's really high in B12, your essential fatty acids. It's high in B6, another of nutrients. It's been known to help in the fight against heart disease and lowering cholesterol. So there we go. So we're going to let that sit for about 20 minutes and move on to our compote. Anytime you're marinating meat, I do recommend anything over 15 minutes that you already put it back in the refrigerator so bacteria will breed at room temperature. So we want to make sure we're not doing that. So we can cover it up and put it in the refrigerator. We're ready to make our tomato red onion compote. It's going to be a sauce that goes over the top of the fish after the fish is cooked. So we're going to take out 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to add it to our skillet. Sprinkle some oregano in there. A nice generous amount. Let's hit it with some sea salt and some pepper. Let's cut our onion. We're using a red onion. It's going to add a sweetness to it. It's also going to add a lot of color. It'll be really nice. Onions have tremendous health benefits. They're almost as medicinal in their benefits as garlic is, not quite as much. It's been known to help in the fight against cancer. It's been known to help lower cholesterol, and it will also lower blood sugar. In fact, there's been some suggestion that onions will be as effective in lowering blood sugar as just about anything else. Historically, it was used to help fight asthma, too. It has this wonderful effect of clearing the mucus out of the bronchial tubes. It will also help reduce that spasm in the bronchial tubes. So, cut our onion here nice and small. We're adding it to our skillet. One thing you need to remember about olive oil is you don't want to cook it on a high heat. Olive oil is a wonderful oil to use. It doesn't have any of the from the onion. It doesn't have any of the downside of a saturated fat or polyunsaturated oil. But you still need to be careful. Olive oil can't withstand high heat, so you really need to cook it on a low heat. I keep my olive oil stored in glass. It's one of the few things I do buy in glass. It will leach from the plastic. So you want to make sure that if you're going to go to the extent of buying olive oil, you need to make sure you buy it correctly. Alright, we're using organic tomatoes here. We're using the tiny little red ones, the cherry ones, or the grape tomatoes that have been called by several names. And these little guys just cut really easy. And they're already kind of small, so they'll keep their shape. Tomatoes are wonderful, really rich in vitamin C. They're really high in many carotenes. The most famous, of course, is lycopene. Lycopene has been associated with reducing the risk of certain cancers, especially prostate and breast cancer. A full serving of tomatoes every day, men reduce their risk of prostate cancer by 23%. So it's pretty significant.